Hello everybody, welcome back to the video, and today I'm going to be reviewing Scream 4, the fourth installment of the Scream series, and probably the one that's considered by most people to be the biggest outlier, as it did not launch a trilogy of its own or a set of sequels. So let's get into this. So the movie begins, so let's start with the opening, because I feel like that's going to be one of the more interesting points of conversation. It's a movie within a movie within a movie. So you have your traditional opening, seems like it's been a little revamped for the modern era, and you find out that's a movie. And so you're thinking, okay, all right. And then they do that same trick again, and you're thinking, oh, okay. And so I think the idea of them watching a movie and then it being revealed that it's characters in Scream, I think that's a good idea. I think they did that one too many times. Because I think honestly, you could have had the original opening, right, where you have that just reveal and then you start your opening scene. That seems like it would have been a much more interesting idea. Um, because it doesn't really give you a lot of time to get to know your opening cast for the kills. So yeah, I think it's funny that Sydney published a book. So let's start with Sydney, and I love the fact that she gets to interact with the cast a lot in this one. She didn't have the opportunity to do that a lot in the previous one, so now we get to see her interact with the cast. And I mean, there's some funny interactions. There's some interesting ones when she goes to the cinema club. That's kind of interesting. That's also where the rules of a remake get explained. Gonna get to that in a minute. I love the fact that they continue the Dewey Gale relationship. And I mean, it's kind of weird that Dewey is the sheriff at this point, but I'm fine with it. Um, I want to talk about Gail quickly. She is really funny in this one. Um, she gets a decent amount to do because she gets her own kind of subsection of the movie, and she has some great lines. Um, Particularly funny when she insults Hicks's lemon squares. I'm not going to say the line, but if you know what I'm talking about, it's a really funny line. Um, but it, Gail is just funny in this movie. Um, so that's all of your returning cast, apart from Roger L. Jackson as Ghostface. He's pretty good in this one. He really is. And question to anyone else: has anyone else tried to figure out what the rest of that question he was going to ask Kirby at the end was? Name the remake of the groundbreaking horror film where the villain, and then Kirby just starts listing off remakes. Leave what you think that rest of the question is in the comments, because I think the answer. I think the rest of that question. You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna say it now. I think the rest of that question was when, not in the form of time. I mean, as in winning. I think that I mean, obviously that's Jill on the phone, and she is so spoilers, by the way. Obviously, she's so confident that her plan is gonna work. She's already bragging about winning to one of her would-be victims. Um, so I guess with that, let's just talk about Ghostface. So Ghostface is once again two people, Charlie Walker and Jill Roberts. And yes, in case you're thinking that the name Rory Culkin is familiar, that's because he's the brother of Macaulay Culkin, the kid from Home Alone. Kevin McAllister. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, they don't really give him a lot to do in terms of when he's revealed to be Ghostface, because it honestly just feels like the regular character, except maybe had one cup of coffee or something like that. Uh, Emma Roberts, on the other hand, as Jill, is absolutely terrifying. Might be the best word. Um, because let's go through this quickly. Billy wanted revenge. Mrs. Loomis wanted revenge. Roman wanted revenge. Stu was peer pressured, and Mickey wanted to be caught. But Jill is so meticulous in her reboot scheme that she fully commits to it, and yeah, it's just kind of crazy the lengths she goes to, and you get perhaps the most shocking sequence when she beats herself up at the end of the movie to stage the ending that she's trying to get across as her story. First, I've seen all of them several times. First time I saw this movie, my jaw was wide open. I was thinking, and I was just shocked. And that, even when you know it's coming, it's still shocking. But can we be honest here? There's still fingerprints on several things, the rag and the duct tape. So she might have gotten caught anyway. But honestly, I think that there's some good stuff in here. The idea of reboots is an interesting one, and this one dives into it, I think, maybe even more than some of the other ones. I mean, 3 doesn't really dive into a trilogy really that much. You get a few lines, you get Randy explaining the rules, but, you know, it being a trilogy concluder isn't really a big thing. And then you get Scream 2, which dives into sequels, and you get some sequelness, but, you know, not really. You know, that's in the first half. It doesn't really play into the second half that much. So, really, the first one and the fourth one are both ones that fully take the concept of their meta-ness to the extreme. But, so, there's some really good stuff in here. I feel like the rules could have been fleshed out a little bit more, because it basically comes to what was the rules in the 90s, basically reverse it, and there you go. So, I mean, there's some good stuff in here. Definitely better than 2. But honestly, while this one handles being a meta movie on remakes better than 3 was on trilogy concluders, I think I enjoy watching 3 a little bit more. This is still a really good movie, and I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. There's only small issues. Okay, I do have one thing I want to say quickly. Alternate ending. So, the hospital was not actually how this was supposed to end originally. This was supposed to end at the house party, and with Jill getting away with it. Yep. And I don't know if people are going to disagree with me on this. This movie made the least amount of money at the box office, and it was considered a flop. I wonder if this movie might have done a little bit better if they had left that cliffhanger in there. Because studio executives basically took the cliffhanger out and basically forced Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson to come up with an alternate ending. That's what Sidney says it is at the end. When Jill says this was supposed to end at the house, Sidney says, consider this an alternate ending. And that's because it is. I like the hospital scene. It's really good, and Sidney gets an awesome final line back at Jill. But I think for the movie itself, it would have worked out better if it had ended at the house. And then Scream 5 was originally supposed to be sort of similar to I Know What You Did Last Summer, where that Ghostface would have found out that Jill was the Ghostface behind this movie. And that honestly would have been awesome to see. And we kind of get a Ghostface hunting another one in Scream 6. Stay tuned for that. But, I mean, imagine a full movie of it. That would have been awesome to see. So yeah, this movie, 8.5 out of 10. very good. I would highly recommend it. And, well, oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to bring up. Kirby is really good in this one, and I'm glad they brought her back for Scream 6. That's it for this video. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.